Good morning, friends. It's another hot day. I think this is going to be supposed to be one of the last hot days before tomorrow. It's supposed to rain a little bit and sort of, get into some more normal fall weather, which I feel like a lot of people are anticipating, including myself. So today I'm going to breach into the subject of politics again because I know so many people love that topic and they love discussing it and they love arguing with people on the internet about it and, basically ruining their day and, for some people, their entire lives and their happiness, talking about politics, sorry. I don't know if you can hear, but there's I don't know what's happening. There's some construction going on. It's been bothering me. It woke me up at around like 8 o'clock this morning, and I got home late last night from work. So, not too happy waking up to the sound of that, but, you do what you gotta do, right? So if you hear noise throughout this video, just know that it's some construction. So anyway, back into the subject at hand is the concept of centrism, right? This is a big thing that people like to poo-poo a lot, right? This centrism idea that a lot of people who are, delusional in their political ideologies tend to regard people who are centrist as people who either don't care enough or people who sit on the fence or people who can't make a decision. They basically equate it to like people who don't want to commit to anything real. I think that's a very naive or misunderstood way of looking as to what a centrist really is. I don't believe anyone who is a centrist, whatever that term may or may not be. But I will say that it's generally someone who stands out from the political spectrum, the man-made political ideology, which I feel doesn't really exist and isn't relevant to anything that's, real in the world. It's sort of this man-made sort of field map we can use to sort of categorize people based off of their political views, right? And I think, for the most part, centrists sort of stand out from that, in that they actually just live out their own lives and, they don't interfere with politics or any of that sort because it just doesn't concern them and it's not important to them. It's not that they are afraid or they don't care. It's just that it's not their main concern. And while they do care and they might vote for a Democrat or a Republican or independent or whatever, they're mostly just trying to look at things from a stand-back perspective based off of their own life experience, what affects them, what affects their family. And I know for me, as someone who is a centrist or whatever, the real reality is that I'm trying to see perspectives from both sides because it's not like it's a good versus bad type of scenario, which a lot of these political people like to think of it as. It's, people have different opinions on what works, and we haven't found anything that works. There's no, factual based evidence of, a political system that works for everyone, right? It just doesn't exist. There's no such thing. So, solidifying yourself into this political party or political ideology, which is basically you're treating it like a religion at this point. You're basically sacrificing any sort of method of opening yourself up to maybe something else that would work in the future, something new that will come about that says, oh, this actually works, and it goes against completely every other political ideology, but you're so rigid and fixed in your own mindset that you just can't look at that perspective. You can't see things from that perspective. And I see that with let's talk about the left, for instance, first, right? The left people are very conscious about the working class people, and they want to take money from the rich because the rich don't deserve it and they want to give it to the poor people. And it's a very general way of looking at things, because you're assuming that, um, the 1%, so to speak, is something that everyone should have, right? You want to create like this baseline of equality, and we don't really know where that starts. What people's needs are can be like limitless, right? What people want and need can be anything really. Some people feel like they need a Ferrari. Some of those people are in the 1% because maybe they grew up in poverty, or they grew up in the middle class, and they said, I need to be rich, I need to be wealthy. That was like their main focus in life. And they drove and they worked incredibly hard to get where they were. And now they're in that bracket of the 1%. And now, you want to make those people sacrifice whatever they felt like they needed to fulfill other people's needs, right? And those needs can be anything. You can't just say that it's a very general term that people have all the same needs and wants. It's very, very not true, right? Even something as simple as, let's say, like healthcare, for instance. Some people are healthy and they don't need healthcare at this moment in time. They might need it when they're older, but some people, they can live till like 100 and picture perfect health because they took care of their bodies throughout their whole lives. And I'm not trying to say I'm against free healthcare or anything of that sort. I'm just trying to point out that when people generalize these very broad things like free healthcare, free education, free college tuition, you're assuming that these are needs that everyone should have, or that these are things that everyone wants, right? And some people might not want them or need them. And again, I'm not trying to like disavow free education or free healthcare or anything of that sort. I live in Canada and it's fine, whatever. There's issues with the free healthcare. It's not as effective as it should be, but it's there and it's nice to have. One thing I don't agree with is the fact that people say healthcare is a right. It's not a right. A right is something that is like an action based off an individual. You have the right to do something. You have the right to speak your mind. You have the right to start a business. Getting healthcare is something someone's giving to you, right? You don't have the right to just get something from someone else. That's a privilege, right? So when we say free healthcare is a right, I feel like that needs to be corrected, because it's not a right, it's a privilege. And I'm going to, go on the other side here and see how on the right everything's all about like the free market and free enterprise, and individuality reigns supreme. And there's a lot of flaws in that side as well, obviously, which is what it's the head versus the heart, right? And this sort of mentality sort of dismisses the fact that other people are suffering in the world and they're not getting the baseline level of satisfaction in their lives to achieve a sense of satisfaction and happiness. And to me, being centrist, right, is about balancing those two things. For a lot of my youth, I would say I leaned very much on the left until I had to have more of an open and realized way of looking more towards conservative and like right sort of values to sort of equalize my perspective on the world and understand what is important. And then now, as I even more experience and understanding, I'm sort of stepping out of that whole thing and sort of realizing that it's really like it's toxic mentality to like dive into these headspaces and not really reflect on it and think, okay, what could be improved? Is this really the right way to look about things? Is this logical? Is this rational? Is this does this provide some sort of empathy towards other people? So these are the things I'm thinking about. And if you are a centrist, there's like this, a lot of memes going out where people think that centrists, oh, they're so woke, they think they're so much better than everyone. I mean, you have to see it from their perspective, right? And at least from my perspective, when I see people fighting each other in this like this stupid political bullshit, it just, I mean, it's a joke. It's like, it's not real. You know, you're not really fighting anything. You're like, this isn't, you know, the French Revolution where, you know, you're willing to sacrifice your life for, you know, a political cause. Is literally you bitching on Twitter and like starting a little Twitter feud with someone else. You know, none of you, especially in the first world, this is like, I'm discounting people who live in third world countries who might live in under different circumstances and they might have different political views and so forth. But if you live in the first world, generally you will not want to sacrifice your life for a political cause, and that shows that we live in a very privileged society, and having strong political opinions for your own country is kind of a waste of time, especially since we live in a world where it's like there's a lot of flaws, but it's also pretty damn fucking good in terms of what we've accomplished. I mean, what we have, I feel like we take it for granted what we really have. We take it for granted so much that we like complain when we can't get free healthcare or healthcare that isn't adequate enough. Like, just the fact that healthcare even exists is like a fucking, like, it's a miracle. I don't even understand the concept of getting so mad about that kind of thing, when it just, the fact of it exists. I mean, like 100 years ago, you'd get sick, you just die. Like, that was it. And there was no, like, you didn't go to like a hospital. It's like, oh yeah, we'll give you some antibiotics, or like we'll give you some surgery or whatnot. No, it was just, you died and that was it. And maybe there was like a healer of some kind who would like give you some herbs and like maybe like stitch you up a little bit. But like in terms of actual like medical proficiency, there was like, it just didn't exist. So I feel like in terms of retaining your mental sanity and whatnot, and not delving into this deep rabbit hole of like insanity and ridiculous politics, is just sort of step back and sort of appreciate what we have created, realize that it is flawed, but also take a moment to realize it's like, hey, this is not like as bad as it could be. It could be a whole lot, like a fuck ton lot worse. You know, we could just, if we just existed 200 years ago, which is really not a long time, we could be just fucked right now. Like, this could, you know, your life could just be ruined. You would just starve to death, right? That could just be your reality. So anyway, I'm going on a rant here. That's what my thoughts are for today. Hope you have a wonderful day.